Good morning, my creative collective. Welcome to your May 20th reading. This is your daily creative reading. We are going to dive right in. Happy Friday, my friends. So grateful for the week to be coming to a close. I hope you have great plans this weekend. And if great plans are not to be had this weekend, then that they have already taken place, my friends. So we're going to dive right in, okay? I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space, and I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. All right. Let's do this. I said it yesterday, I think, but in a departure from our usual pulling from this deck, I'm pulling from the Journey of Love deck because I feel like it's kind of the week, could use a little more love, right? So that's how we're going to kick off this reading. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? And thank you. Towering magnificence. Towering magnificence. Devotion to the small. It's such an interesting juxtaposition. So, just an aside, sometimes I feel like I have to have like a lot of answers, right? For what I do for work, I'm basically one of the, if there's anything that happens that's an emergency at work, I'm one of the point people among a couple there. But it's like you're first aid trained and you have to be trained on all these other things. But beyond that, you have to be able to think very clearly. And that needing to be on, right, it drives me to want to go to places where I feel like a speck in this bigger infinite space, right? So this hoodie's fitting weird. I don't know, but it drives me to go to places like nature or that is vast, right? With towering structures. And it's like this sort of, it reminds me of that kind of energy where like we're on, but this is our freedom to be off. Right. And this is such an interesting dimensionality to this because this is like in 2D and then this is in 3-5 plus. Right. So it's like this balancing act, and not balancing act as in like precarity, but just balancing act as in energy being directed at both, and that it's sort of a highlight that both are important. So. Spirit, what message do you have for my daily creatives? Whoa. Heartfire. Nice. I feel so my initial thoughts on this were root chakra, but then I also thought about the heart center, and not just the heart center, but I'm envisioning like a spiral, but then this being like a staircase as well, like a staircase, and like it's like ascension, like there's an ascension process happening through the heart right now. This heart fire. Interesting. So we're gonna pull from the Muse Tarot here as well. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please and thank you? Whoa. A tower kind of flipped in and out, but the tower in this deck is more, I envision it as one that's a little bit more you, not in charge of it, but you leading it. You like taking a tower and putting it in. I don't, parking it, I'm not sure. Yeah, this is my tower garage. It's just, where I park all the towers. No, I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. Although like Scorpio people might be like, yeah, that's exactly how we do it. But okay, so I always see this as a colander, like your fruit being rinsed by the universe. It's like there's something so free and joyous about this energy. And then there's this 8 of Swords as well. So it's like 9 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords. What else is going on here? It's like the ways we show up for ourselves. Yeah, the ways we show up for ourselves. I'm getting that from here because I feel like this is like not showing up for yourself. And then there's like obviously the Nine of Pentacles is a certain showing up for oneself, but then I think the Eight of Swords is like the resistance to that. Like there was an unwillingness to see something, and then you see it and you release it. You see it and then you release. And I think that that's pretty beautiful right now. Just with all the energies and stuff. I mean, yeah. Bridging energy. I see this more as consciousness, like higher consciousness bridging. So when I see these pop out as we have this week, to me it's like we're taking a next step. There's like a portal that's opening. It's a doorway that's allowing us to step through. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I see the doorway at the bottom here as well, just above the Hanged Muse. Right? So it's like doorways, doorways, doorways. In the world. Yeah. I'm going to turn this bridging energy up here so that we just get all the space. All the space. Whoa. I'm hearing let yourself be led. Let yourself be led. Six of Pentacles. So I think the thing that could be a tower, if it's not sort of managed well today or ongoing, is this bridging energy. Now, why is this a potential tower? Well, I think that this is sort of a disconnect. Like it's a need to stay connected to, I think it's about staying connected to, it's like grounding things, like the ways that you're channeling things, grounding that in something. And I think the world is here in the protagonist position, sort of as a luminary, just came to mind. So that's, I heard luminary. It's like a luminary on the path. But I feel like this is like the cycle that ended. And then interestingly, the antagonist position, it's almost showing up as a Six of Pentacles in reverse. Like it's there's a need to really balance yourself right now. There's a need to balance yourself. Balance maybe expectations too, right? Like this is Saturn, and Saturn does bring with it, like hard work, but it also brings great rewards as well, right? It brings great rewards with it too. Five of Cups. I feel like there's change kind of coming in quickly, and there's maybe a way that you've been resisting it. But I feel like it is, I mean, Saturn's here, so, whoops, sorry, I just hit the microphone. Sorry to your precious ears. There's a way that all of this is kind of coming to the fore here. The Fool. Yeah, so I think the main challenge is just, this is going to sound so harsh, but like in a way we have to get over ourselves sometimes, right? Like we can only cry about things that didn't work out for so long. And after that, it becomes like a self-flagellation. And like that, for folks who are into that, like that's fine. But for the majority of us, there has to be a healthier, better path forward, right? There has to be a better path forward. And I think that the Fool card is here as a reminder of the path forward. And it's like, look for the hell yes in something, right? That came up yesterday, but like, look for that hell yes. And it's not that, it's not looking to like this dopamine hit of like, yeah, like, you're not like revving the engine of a Mustang. You're listening to your inner voice and your inner peace as well. And what that means. What does that mean for you? Right? What does that mean for you? So, and I think too that when we, step into our awareness or into our power, we understand that we have to, there's like a bridging that takes place. Like there's a bridging, and we can't take stuff with us, right? We can't take everything with us. And that's okay. Some things aren't meant to come. They're not meant to go with us. And that's not a testament to grieving or a leaving behind. It's a testament to all of the things that you will be able to hold, that you have yet to hold, right? And I think that's where this leap is taking place too, because it's like you're breathing into something. You're breathing fresh life into something. Um, mhm. I think what's coming to mind right now is the image of a bird flying into a window, which sounds it's not bad though. So sometimes that happens, especially in office buildings. That's why now, in terms of urban planning perspectives, you'll see like the sides of the buildings have spots on them that kind of look out of place, or they make it so that it's like a decorative feature of a building. Um, to protect the any like if especially if the buildings are in a migratory place, like if they interrupt a migratory pattern, or if they're in between. And I just have the image of like, just like doing well, you're like, awake to some spiritual concepts and you're kind of there, and then it just like you hit the window and you fall. But the thing is that when birds hit windows, unless they hit them really hard, it doesn't kill them all the time. Sometimes it takes a second and it just stuns them, and then they like get up and keep moving again. And it's almost like, I think spiritual awakening can be like that. And if not spiritual awakening, then awakening period, or peeling layers back to healing that's needed to take place, right? You can hit that window, and then as this awareness starts to seep in, what ends up happening is you're able then to wake up, and it's like a different, it like stuns you for a minute, and then you're like good, you're good, right? And I'm getting kind of that with this in terms of the leaving this, like the Five of Cups is like it's a having left something behind that was like a test or lesson. It's like you're able to step in again. You're able to step beyond and move beyond as well. And that's where this Fool is. It's like this breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air. The sun. Yeah. This, I feel like this is Spirit's way of being like, amen to that. And I think that this is, I mean, it's beautiful energy, period, but might be some significance to pitcher plants. Hmm. I what came to mind was with the sun here, just like stepping out like this reminds me of like in southern Ontario, it's like the first day that it hits like 10 degrees, right? Everyone's like running out in shorts. They're like, oh my gosh, summer's here. And it's like freezing still, but we're all just like, yes, and running out, right? Like just, and but I get that. It's like almost like there's been a way that maybe there's been a winter, right? Like maybe there's been some kind of winter. If it's, and it's not, I'm not getting like big dark night of the soul vibes here, but like it could have been a way that you were just, a little bit more closed maybe. But the sun is telling me that there's a way that you're stepping into the joy. There's a release that has happened here. There's a release that has happened. And like the Five of Cups can literally represent tears. But, one of my friends years ago, my friend Michael, his name was, he said, tears are a baptism from within. So how profoundly are you letting yourself be baptized from within you, and letting that wisdom and that consciousness and that emotion be like your baptismal rite? Like, how is that energy flowing for you, right? Six of Swords. It's like a leaving behind. I almost feel like with the Mercury retrograde, what I'm getting from the Eight of Swords too is that this is like miscommunication. And then this is kind of like oh shit, sorry, right? Like that could be possible too. Like this is just, I feel like this could just as easily be like, it could very simply be just miscommunication and stuff that you couldn't see. And then you see it and you're like, oh, I'll have one slice of humble pie, please. and make that not to go. I'm just going to make sure that I sit and have it in full view of others, that I need to be accountable. Like that kind of behavior, I don't know, but it's like that could be something that's happening here too. But like I don't think that it's not deleterious to your self-esteem or confidence. I think it's just like, oh right, like it's a stepping into that. And I think as well, the Six of Swords here tells me that this is like a very conscious decision to leave something behind. This is not like the Fool can come across as like a leap of faith, trusting that everything's going to work out okay, right? Because you've climbed the ladder. I'm hearing the ladder of consciousness. Like you've taken that step, you've done your thing, and then it's like this decision that you're making to step away from something. But interestingly, it's like stepping away, but the higher octave of that would be stepping towards. Like, what are you moving towards? Because we think about like stepping away from things and like, I'm going to leave that behind and cut it out. Like it's very defensive energy, right? And we know, according to A Course in Miracles, that defense is the first act of war. So it's like this is less of that, and this is almost like a ceremonial release. Like it's a ceremonial letting go. So we're going to clarify more of these details here. A little more detail. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? 5 of Wands. I don't... Okay, so the reason why I'm laughing is because I was reminded of the way that I would like do happiness when I was in my 20s. But it's like I just heard Spirit say like you don't need to like you don't need to how do I word this? You don't need to win. Like the point of happiness isn't to be like, I won the happiness. Like you don't have to, like, you can't really achieve it. It's more like something that you just feel. So it's like, maybe it's leaving behind a mindset like that. Yeah. Let's play a game called Joy and Bliss. Okay. And you have like ribbons and everything that people get, not for participation, but for whoever wins. But then like, what the heck is the point? Like, it's just that kind of, it's just funny to me. Like I'm seeing this like little kid show up with like a cape and then these like pilot goggles on, like ready to go. And just, but that's not the point of happiness, right? That's not the point of happiness. One second here. There you go. I just had to fix a cord. Okay. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Please and thank you. Okay. The Tower. Oh, wow. That was quick. Getting it out of the way, just right out of the gate, right? Five of Wands, the Tower, Two of Pentacles, the World. Oh, the World showing up again. I feel like this was like a big cycle. It's just like I'm hearing like just this infinity loop. You went from like the infinity loop of like always doing this. Am I Bill Murray or the groundhog, right? And then you go into this place of like victory loop. Like it's like you've traded because there's something that you were more flexible about, or there's something that you were more flexible with. These are also the fixed signs. So that's sort of I'm feeling that this like the cycle was based on like fixity versus flexibility, right? So let me just move myself around here. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now we're going to clarify the Nine of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and the Fool. I'm hearing a little bit of Fool's Gold. Like that's like a Five of Cups worry. Queen of Cups. Let's see where that takes us, though. I'm getting that you're feeling confident. There's a confidence that you're feeling. Oh. The song I Get By With a Little Help from My Friends just came to mind on this. I'm hearing, but like mixed emotion. I'm not sure what that is. Mixed emotion. And like I'm thinking about it when they announce someone's departure from a company, like it's with mixed emotion that, and it's like that's almost like the cursory way to like outro someone, right? Like, and I just heard like, and there's like a name that I can't intuit, but then it says like, and so takes the stage. So maybe there's like a leaving and an entry into something new. And then the two cards that fell out were the Ace of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. Sure, okay. I mean, just be abundant like that all over this spread here. That's fine. We can do that, I guess. But I think that definitely confirms that for me, that it's like, and whatever it is that you're stepping into, not only ended a cycle, it ended a cycle. Like I'm getting that this is like energy that you had to step away from, and then the Ten of Pentacles here is like, it's like this. It's like this long-term investment. Like this could just be an investment in self. But instead of cups, like I'm almost seeing as these being like lights that people held along the way to help you, right? Because and this is the key too, is like you have to be willing to be helped. And that's the other part too, is like you need to be able, you need to listen to what is actually going on and being said, even through fears and all of that. And then, so this Ace of Cups and Ten of Pentacles is like, I don't know why this is coming up. I think the phrase is grand denouement, DENOUMENT. I'm not sure what that means. I have no clue what that means, but that just came to mind. And then we have the Eight of Swords and this sort of consciousness bridging energy, the King of Cups, the Hermit, Three of Wands. Ooh, Devil on the bottom. I think this is like a temptation to shift back into a different consciousness, because we have this bridging energy here, right? And what came out on the split was the Nine of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. So I'm almost getting like this slip into a lower thought pattern. I heard thought form. If that's the case, like there may be some more dedicated work needed, but I'm getting that there's like I'm getting that there's this, it's almost like a sense of, I've never been here before, so how do I know that it's going to be okay? And it's less about whether the environment, I like, just as wisdom, things that I've learned. So the first day that I sat, I was, so first and foremost, it's less about whether the environment is going to be okay, and knowing that what you have in you is going to make it okay because of who you are, right? Because of who you are. And so the first day of my master's program, I didn't think I would get the chance to ever go back to school, which was amazing to me. Like it blew my mind to be there. Like people were just like, oh, this was like the next step. I'm like, you have no idea what this freaking means to me. Like none at all. And in that, I found a lot of like more mature students, like 10 and 20 years older than myself. They got it, right? Because they were out of that for a while and then came back. So it just meant something different to us. But, and that's not to say that there was a split along age lines or anything like that, but just that sense of richness. And I remembered sitting there and I was trying to take in every aspect of that moment because I wanted to remember how it felt to be a beginner in a way that would profoundly change something for me, right? And I'm getting that energy here off of this, is like this kind of consciousness bridging energy, but then it's like embracing the wisdom of where you are, yes, right? Embracing the wisdom of where you are, and also and how you feel about it too. Because that's the other thing. We can drop into the present moment, but sometimes we have to sort through our feelings about that, right? Sometimes we have to sort through that and work through that as we go. And this Three of Wands and Devil card together are telling me that like we're alchemizing things that need to be alchemized emotionally speaking. Amazing. Great. Good job. And then there's this Three of Wands and Devil energy, which is feeling kind of tempted by the stories that you've told yourself about what isn't here yet and what hasn't come to be. And can you handle the horizons, right? This is also like a ships coming in card, though. So is it that you're worried about your ships actually coming in, or is it that you're worried about whether or not you're capable, right? There's a difference. So are you worried about that, or are you worried about the other things, right? And the things, the other things, that's so pejorative, but it's like it's the stuff in between. I'm seeing a jar with large and small river stones in it, and the little pebbles filling up the space, but then water being poured into it, and that's all the extra stuff, right? And the amount of boulders and rocks in that jar are like the beliefs that we have that change the volume of how much water, which is emotion, that we can carry and hold about what's in front of us. And I think this devil energy is really the embodiment of that in card form, at least. And it can keep us in a lot of chains, right? It really can. It can hold us back. It can hold us back. And you see this star on top of the devil's head. It sort of represents this sort of root chakra energy, being the way that we find, like, we tap into that God energy instead. So it's almost like this like flip where we don't have the capacity to bring in wisdom from that crown and third eye source. So instead we seek the path of least resistance through the first three chakras, which never really connects us to our path or to things that are truly meaningful from a spiritual perspective, because they're clouded and it's rooted in an imbalance, right? So this is really about understanding that the stories that you've told yourself may have placed you in a position previously of doing that, where it's like you like someone, or you like a job or whatever it is, but it's because of the things that are related to those three chakras. It's related to those three things, as opposed to a sincere connection to the others, right? Whatever that means, like a sincere connection, it's hard for the energy to move because there were blocks, is what I'm trying to get at. So, but again, the world here twice is like you're moving through whatever those blocks might have been. Whatever the blocks might have been, you are moving through. Yeah. Yeah. The world on the Five of Pentacles. I think this is just like when you're used to being either, treated less than favorably or not great, or if you're accustomed to it's almost like the way I'm seeing this is like anticipating the worst, right? Like as a kid, I grew up in there was chaos right at home. It is what it is. Can't change it. So, I just heard the song Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Basically, like, it's fine, right? I had to do what I had to do. Make peace with where I came from, while integrating all of the lessons from it. But this is like when things are hard for a really long time, it doesn't just harden your heart. The other thing that it does too is it blocks you from being able to see clearly. Like I see this less, as a poverty consciousness. Like poverty consciousness names the symptom, but what's the root? Looking down at everything other than the doors in front of you. I think about this in terms of a community organizing and community activism work that I've done a lot of. And like I was, even when I sat on an advisory committee for 2S LGBTQ as the representative for that in the city where I lived at the time. And, we got to work with so many different cool people and things like that to make policy happen. And one of the things that I really was fought tooth and nail for was raising the trans flag. And that's not to say I am amazing. Like it's fine. I know what I did. I'm at peace with it. But the real story is the way that represented something. It was the first time that it was done, and people were really resistant to it. It was just like bureaucratic stuff, right? And one of the clerks was overjoyed because, she felt like we really did something in a short period of time because I was super persistent. I just said, okay, well, I think this is a really good idea. And I put together a Google website. So I built that in about 48 hours, presented it to the one of the people who worked at the CAO's office, so the Chief Administrative Officer of the municipality. So I presented it to them, and then I presented it to the committee briefly. And then I worked with the city clerk who kept saying, well, we don't really have the right piece. We don't have the right thing, because there's a specific part that you need to fly the flag, right? I'm getting back to this card. This is like a roundabout story, but so they were like, oh, we don't have the piece. I was like, cool. You know what? I'm going to make a donation to the city through the piece. It's $10 on Amazon. I'm going to go buy it. Please respond to me within 24 hours to let me know whether to buy it or not, or otherwise I'll just go ahead and purchase it because I can always return it. And I have a trans flag at home. So there's really nothing stopping this from happening other than our own personal will. So help me figure this out, please. Right. And it can be that kind of persistence, which is amazing. But not everyone enjoys that. But that's sort of like when it comes to these things, it's like flexible solutions. It's like, and it's not about not taking no for an answer, because I think that has gotten so twisted culturally to where it's like persistence and consent are two different things. But like, it's like it's like the cultural nuances that say like, don't take no for an answer. Well, sometimes we should, right? Sometimes we should really do that. And this to me is about looking at the possible doors to getting things done, and not just getting things done, but like working together with others in a way that opens doors together, right? I mean, when you're doing community organizing and you have a huge event coming up, like an annual event that draws like upwards of 1,000 plus, well, a couple thousand people throughout the day. And there's like performers and, politicians are coming and all of that stuff. It's not just about like getting dressed up in your Sunday best kind of thing. It's like, you have to understand that, if something goes wrong, it's not about it all weighing on you and the pressure being on you, right? It's about understanding that there are creative solutions around every corner, and you have to trust in that to throw yourself into situations like that where, oh, this performer didn't show up. Well, what do we do? Okay, well, the DJ doesn't get here until this time. So what chords? And you figure it out as you go. The number of times that I relied on Google to just to put questions into Google to find out what to do, to figure it out along the way. And I feel like this is like an upending with the world card here. It's like an upending of the thought that you don't have the answers. Because even if you don't have the answers, all you need is a question. All you need is the question. And I'm not saying like, have you met our, Lord and Savior Google? Because that's not it either. But it's also just like, if you have a question and you can work the question well, you also have the answer in the question, discursively speaking, but then also energetically speaking. That's how you magnetize opportunities to you, is because you exist in that space of like, all I need is a good question. You don't have to have a single answer. You don't even have to have a single answer, right? Another example from the time that I did community organizing was I was helping out with one group, and they had a nonprofit number. And in order to get space in that specific, in the city that I was in another space that would have been ideal and super safe for this group to gather, because it had people who felt vulnerable coming out and being out in public. So I worked behind the scenes, and we created like a partnership exclusively for that purpose, so that they could gain access to the space using that nonprofit number, which is like a silly barrier, right? All bureaucratic stuff. But the point is that even the most seemingly annoying problems have a solution. They have a solution, right? They really do. And I think that we just have to trust in that. And that's where this world card, it's like, again, don't have to know the answers. All we need is a question. Because if we start with a question, it means that we're starting by nature of the question mark. We're starting from a place and with the energy of the answer. Because the question means that we believe that an answer is possible. If we didn't, it would be a period. 3333 on the time. If we didn't, it would be a period at the end of that sentence and not a question mark, right? So it's just like, sometimes it's like the mind plays tricks on us. And that's where it's like, I feel like this is like a cycle of like, I don't know, right? I don't know. And because we do know, and we tend to believe that when we say I don't know, what we're saying is I don't have the finish line visualized in my mind yet. I don't have the finish line visualized in my mind. So how can I possibly trust that it's going to turn out okay? Well, all you need to know, like, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner some nights. All I know is that when I get in the door from work, I'm going to unlock and turn the handle and enter the space. And then I'm going to go into the kitchen and see what's there, unless I've been planning it, right? So it's this like, it's almost like planned spontaneity, I guess, but it's understanding that we don't have to know everything. And it's the ways that our brain can play tricks with our perspective and our perception, right? Page of Swords. This is, yeah, it's like doing your research. This is like doing your research to get to this Five of Pentacles upended place. But I feel like you're still hanging on a little bit, which is okay. Page of Swords, holding a sword, which is like, to me, the Ace of Swords being held up as opposed to the Four Pentacles. So it's almost like it could be a little blip, but this could also be like, let me pull more before the Empress. So this is like the understanding that you don't really have to hang on to things that don't serve you with this particular energy. There's a shine here. So sorry, I opened the window a little bit. But this Five of Pentacles right here, this one here, you don't have to hang on to stuff that doesn't serve you. And it's knowing that it doesn't serve you, right? Like, why would you hold tightly to Four Pentacles when the Empress was available to you? It's like, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't honor you. And it's not about like, it doesn't make sense to do that. It's not about that. It's more of the energy, like, it doesn't honor you, because honoring yourself is a high vibration place to be in. It's a high vibe place to be in. Yeah. Seven of Cups on the Six of Pentacles. And this is like, I remember the Six of Pentacles here. It was in an imbalanced place. Like, it was showing up in a bit of an imbalanced perspective. And the Seven of Cups here is, I think, showing up in a way that's like illuminating the cause of that. This is like a causative thing. And it's like, try not to get too distracted, because it's going to cause a bit of imbalance that will throw your energy in too many different directions. So it's like, there's a book called The One Thing. And, it's like focusing your energy and understanding what you're giving your energy to and how much energy is required for what purpose, and really setting boundaries with that. On the split, King and Queen of Swords, really setting boundaries and sticking to them. I'm hearing too, sticking to them. And that's when you make those decisions, the right offers come in. It's not about like a stubborn restriction of energy. That's funny. The right offers come in. No kidding. Knight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles. Oh, Spirit. But it's this clarity, and that it's like when people will say things like, in terms of privilege that folks have and that others don't, is, like, you had good choices. Well, people do. They do have good choices. But it's also that we take the choices that we have, and sometimes all we can do is make the best of them. But we have to trust in the question, right? We have to have that trust energy, that it's not just the question that we're asking that is going to, it's not the answer that we're asking for. The nature of the question mark in that sentence itself is sometimes a cause célèbre. What I'm hearing, my French accent is atrocious. I know this. That's the Bruno we won't talk about. But it's like this energy of the first step of any choice that brings in something of value to us, that's really important to us, be it a relationship or a project or anything. It really comes down to, how are we dwelling in the possibility of the question, or are we dwelling in our expectation of a specific answer, right? And it's just being flexible, be open, just stay open, let it flow, right? Let it flow. And part of that comes from releasing attachment too. Like, when we build up these questions in our minds, and then it's not the answer that we're tied to so much, or as much as it is it's not the answer that we're tied to as much as it is how the answer is going to make us look or feel. And sometimes the uncertainty is not necessarily half the fun, because that can be scary, right? But it's knowing that we don't know yet. And that means that anything can happen. That means that anything good can come, right? So honor thyself. Heck yes. Heck yes. No, love in spite of it all. I'd say don't love with spite. I don't know. This card makes me want to blow a big raspberry at it. Like, no, don't love in spite of it all. I'm gonna throw down on this card for a second here and just say, don't love despite. Love because. Find a reason to love because of it all. Find a reason to love because of it all. Because that's the energy that unlocks you from this Five of Pentacles as well, right? It's so easy to say, well, we just have to release poverty consciousness or lack mentality. Well, part of that is loving because of it, right? What parts of, like, some of the worst heartbreaks that I've encountered, well, in relationships and even just with disappointments, things like that, like, they made me so much more, not capable, because that implies, like, there are things that I'm aware of now in other people and how I love and how I learn. And it opens up parts of you that you didn't know you had in you. And what a tower that is, right? What a tower that is. So it's not love in spite of it all. Don't love in spite. Love because the energy of spite being anywhere near, by nature of it, it touches that and leaves an imprint of spite somewhere. It leaves an imprint of spite somewhere, right? So I think this energy is about loving because. I'm too stubborn. I was like, I'm not going to leave that. Ugh. You're not going to worm your way into this reading, spite. Get out. And then this Miracles Now deck. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for this Friday? Friday. I let my intimate relationships be my greatest learning devices for spiritual growth and healing. Mm-hmm. Love because. One of the things that I've tried to make peace with about my own path is that the number of twists and turns that it's taken. You know, if you had told me 2 years before I started my master's degree that I would be back at school, I would have laughed. And not just like laughed a little bit, but like laughed a lot of it, because I just couldn't conceive of it as a possibility, right? It wasn't, I didn't know how it could happen. So I assumed that it couldn't. And I think this is a call to remember that, like, loving because of it all brings in things like, this is almost like love because of it all, right? With the Empress here too. Love because of it all. But there are things that opened up that I couldn't wrap my head around. I couldn't figure out, like, how in the heck could this even happen, right? You know, when good things happen to folks, you sometimes hear the refrain, and I think I've heard Abraham Hicks talk about this in some of their workshops, but like that, you know, if that's the energy that you're in and you're like, oh my gosh, what a great thing, I can't believe it, then Spirit's like, all right, I believe you, right? Like, and it's not like it takes it away, but there's a way that it reflects that hesitation to believe it, that hesitation to believe in how much you deserve and whether you deserve. So I think that's a key part here too, of honoring yourself. Honor thyself. Love because of it all. That might be the title of this reading. Just saying. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Please don't mind my sounds. When I've overshared, I simply say, wait, why am I talking? This is, I think it's about oversharing on the one hand, but I think it's also, and I have to be very mindful of this with myself too, because sometimes I get so excited about sharing information and knowledge, and I like run away with things, and, you know, especially in comment sections, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this resonated for this reason. And I get so pumped because I'm like, this is so on. Do you know how brilliant you are? Like, do you know, look at how amazing this aligned. Like, and it's more from that place, but it can also, it's the way that it's received too, right? So it's important to maybe take a pause, before offering of our energy, and also just checking in to make sure that that's an energy that that person is okay with too, right? This is also about, I think about how, some of my friends and I, we have, well, my close friends, my good friends, we have this kind of beautiful agreement where it's like, asking before something heavy is about to drop in the conversation, right? And just, and it's not like out of, it's not like out of a restrictive place that we do this, but it's just like, hey, can you hold space for this? Because it's going to get heavy. I'm not going to sit in this, but I need someone to hear this, and I need to be seen right now. And that gives the other person permission to say, ooh, I have half a cup, so my response will not honor what you need, and I can't give that to you. And it's like this open communication. It's like it opens things up. So I feel like that may be also a call to make sure that we're doing things like that in communication today, this weekend, especially if you're seeing family or friends over the holiday weekend. So, all right, my friends. That was your reading. So please like and subscribe if this resonated, and wherever this finds you on the time space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night. I hope it finds you very well, my lovelies. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye.